Hello, hello. Welcome to our Weekend Weird segment where we discuss something weird that you all vote on from the poll. Uh, now, plagues. Plagues have always been a a problem that have impacted humans as long back or as far back as you can see in recorded history. We've documented plagues, and plagues come with boils and sores and illness and decay. Right, you waste away. Something that, but not historically, not all plagues have been presented as such. Today, we're looking at a plague that is caused by a spider bite and then it's contagious. How is it contagious? Well, so the spider bite causes you to start dancing, right? And it spreads to everybody around you. But I'm not going to cover it solo because I have this. Oh, of course. I forgot I meant to. We can fix that. Oh, no problem. Okay, so there we go. We're going to listen to, or going to be assisted by Professor Graham Yorston. Professor Graham Yorston of Insane History is going to tell us about the dancing plague known as Tarantism. All right, let's do this.
I'm Professor Graham Yorston, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the most bizarre medical conditions ever described, tarantism, or the compulsion to dance wildly in a trance-like state in response to a bite from a tarantula.
I've had a lot of tarantulas in my life, but I've never been bit by one. Before we get into the video, though, I do want to say hello to who's your buddy who sent 10 gift memberships. And those happy recipients are Emberlyn, Mother of Dragons, Karen Butcher, Hellbound Hillbilly, Kristen Slays, Eli Slack, Neil, the 604 Atheist, Anarchist, Gary Priestley, Ian Kiamba, Prixie Volcano Purist, Purple. So all of you all are now members of the Hive. You have access to all the Hive stuff in the section down below. Welcome. You can stomp across there with some Bigfoot stuff. History of mental health.
So I'm joined today by one of my colleagues, Martin Gale, who has brought along one of his friends. Can't say I'm entirely comfortable sitting so close to a big tarantula, but I'm going to do my best to get through this.
I should get Caroline out. Caroline is probably sleeping though. She just had a big meal. Helen got to meet Caroline. Who here has met Caroline besides Helen? If Vandy was here, Vandy met Caroline.
Outbreaks of dancing mania unconnected to tarantulas plagued Europe for more than 4 centuries, but I want to focus on the dreaded dance of the spider bite.
Me too.
Islamic physicians, including Avicenna and Razes, discussed tarantula bites and what to do about them. One cure...
Caroline is my black hole spider. I didn't name her after you. I named her after the song Sweet Caroline. Let's see. Jake, insert clever, dapper, inside joke here. Nelson, welcome. You are now a cryptic creeper. And Caroline is not a tarantula. She's a black hole spider, an Iranian.
Of smelling human
not
excrement.
Not Iranian, but Orania, like the spider clade.
And sitting in a hot oven to sweat out the poison. But the first description of what we might recognize...
My son's band did like a pop goes punk sort of cover of it, of Sweet Caroline. Yeah, and she's from South Carolina is where she was collected. So Bop, 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 sweet Caroline. You gave away your real name in my side chat still. Everybody calls you Stu and Sumami, and now you gave away your... I knew your real name, because, we're real good friends, but...
As tarantism was by the 11th century Italian physician Pontus, who called it antenismus. It remained a subject of fascination for doctors throughout the Middle Ages and into the early modern era, and hundreds of papers and entire books were devoted to the subject. In the 15th century, the Italian scholar Niccolò Perotti said in his Encyclopedia of the Classical World that those bitten by the tarantula would become stupefied, but at the sound of music they would start jumping.
And also, to be clear, this is coming from an area where real tarantulas don't exist. This was wolf spiders these people were being bit by. Let's see. Lycosa, yeah. European tarantula wolf spider, Lycosa. Let me pull it over so you guys can see the animal we're talking about. This is our suspect, Lycosa tarantula, which is where the name for the large neotropical megalomorph spiders come from. They're named after the species. Lycosa tarantula is a wolf spider. It's a true spider, not a tarantula, not a megalomorph, but an arania. Key difference is tarantulas, fangs go down. They are more primitive. They have book lungs. Whereas arania have fangs that go inward towards each other generally, at some degree of angle depending on the species, but they also have spiracles on their body for respiration and no book lungs. They diverged from these two clades diverged from each other like in the Triassic. So they are further away from each other than we are from like a lemur, right? That's how distantly related they are. So just kind of put in that perspective. But when Europeans moved into areas where huge megalomorph spiders lived, their closest comparison was the wolf spiders, so they gave it the same name. And wolf spiders can get huge. There's wolf spiders that get nearly as big as tarantulas. The Sonoran wolf spider that lives in the Southwest, not in this part of the Southwest. I live in the Chihuahua, which also has big wolf spiders, but also has real tarantulas. But they get huge and they're fast. Anyway, this is the culprit. It even talks about tarantism here. The species was first described by Carl Linnaeus in 1758 as Arania tarantula. It was transferred to the genus Lycosa by Pierre-André Latreille in 1806. Charles Athanase Walkenier in the same 1806 publication described the subspecies Narbonensis, which in 1837 he raised the full species of Lycosa. Oh, I'm reading the wrong section. I'm reading the taxonomy. That's okay. I like taxonomy, but the once traditional belief among Apulian peasants is that a person bitten by one of these spiders must be treated by indulging in a special kind of dancing. The dance, or some version of it, is known as the Tarantula. However, the bite of this spider is not known to cause severe symptoms in humans, much less endanger human lives. But we're going to get back to those.
And dancing. 100 years later, the physician Pietro Mattioli gave a more detailed description of the variety of ways in which the spider bite could affect people. Some sing, others dance, weep, cry out, or sleep. Vomiting is common.
If you're Coyote Peterson, you go over the top with theatrics about everything that stings or bites you. Maybe there's just a whole generation of Coyote Petersons.
Some patients jump and dance, while others sweat and tremble. Some are in continual fear, while some are delirious, distraught, or behave like maniacs. It was most common in the southern province of Puglia, around the ancient city of Taranto, which is where it gets its name. This was the hottest and most underdeveloped region of Italy, where centuries of deforestation had spawned a plague of spiders in the dusty soil. The spider in question is the wolf spider. It does have...
I love your face! Oh, some boobs. Him needs some boobs. Look at all his little eyes. Such a cutie pie. Aww.
Venom, but it is not particularly toxic to humans, and its bite is no more painful than a bee sting. Martin, can you tell us a little bit about the friend you've brought along today?
Yes, this is a Burgundy Goliath bird-eating tarantula.
I love
and its
you.
Latin name is Theraphosa sturmi.
And where's that?
Theraphosa sturmi, Theraphosa blondi. Those are the two largest species of spiders in the world. Of course, there are other contenders. Theraphosa is not the only genus with giants, too. Lasiodora has some huge, they call them LPs, but has some huge spiders as well, bird eaters.
Native to?
This particular tarantula is native to Guyana and South America, Brazil, all around the Amazon rainforest, so mainly a South American tarantula.
Not mainly a South American tarantula, completely a South American tarantula.
So nowhere near southern Italy then. What is the spider that's found in southern Italy?
So the spider that we find in southern Italy is actually the true tarantula, and it's called a tarantula wolf spider. But it is a separate family. It's from the Lycosa spider family, as opposed to these spiders, which are the Theraphosid family. It's a completely different family of spider.
It's not just a different family of spider. Oh goodness. Let's do this. Actually, you know what? Instead of doing that, I'm going to link the video of spider taxonomy that me and Aaron Raw did. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to do that. The Aaron's channel here. Is there a playlist for it though? Because it's like a 5-part series we did a couple years ago. I might as well show you all what I'm doing here, what I'm looking at. So, Aaron Raw does phylogeny videos, and I was his assistant and writer on this series here. So, if you want to know more about the differences, oh, I guess I should have labeled it. There we go. And I'm going to pin that for now. I'm actually going to end my persona poll. But yeah, so me and Aaron did. It's not going to be in this video because you have to get all the way up here before we start talking about the divides between different spider groups.
In fact, if they were live today, I'm sure that we would call them and all of these others, but they don't show any evidence of. You might think they're not there on spiders because most modern spiders don't have that anymore, but fossil spiders had them, and there's one lineage of primitive spiders that still have them, albeit as a vestige of what they once were. These are Mesothelae, a suborder of 100 or so surviving species that are now found particularly by the types of spinnerets that each group has. Notice how Mesothelae has their oversized primitive spinnerets, not in the posterior position like all other modern spiders. These is the lampshade spiders and crevice spiders and coponiids that may have only 2 eyes, which is weird for an arthropod, or they could have 4, 6, or 8 years ago. There are 3 major categories of living spiders, and these first 2 primitive ones represent only a tiny percentage of what remains. There is more diversity in the third and most derived or advanced group, Araneomorpha, than in these first 2 groups combined. This illustration is a composite of a handful of collective molecular phylogenetic studies. Let's run through it for this last.
Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of the phylogeny, just like a quick oversight. And yes, I guess my fursona, according to my live chat, is a coyote, which I would have been cool with any of them because those are some of my favorite animals, right? But yeah, coyote.
So totally different then. But what would a bite from an Italian tarantula actually feel like?
Yes, the bite from a tarantula wolf spider is believed to be no worse than a wasp sting.
And how likely are they actually to bite people?
Well, the likelihood of actually being bitten by a tarantula wolf spider is minimal. They're quite small spiders, very skittish, and they're more likely to run away.
There are so very few spiders in the animal kingdom that will actually cause any kind of damage to a healthy adult. And in Europe, that number's even smaller than it is here in North America. But there's the 13 spotted spider, which is it's the Latrodectus that they have over there, mostly more in southern and eastern Europe, which is is a member of the Black Widow redback family. It's the European version, and it's called the 13 spot spider because it's got 13 little red spots on its body.
Than try to actively bite anyone.
Part of the Tarantism mythology is that the spiders would bite the earlobe of peasants who were having a post-lunch nap on the ground after a morning's hard work on the land. Or the genitalia of adolescent girls lifting up their skirts to urinate in the long grass.
That's a cool looking wolf
In reality,
spider.
Italian wolf spiders rarely bite unless they are continually
Oh,
provoked.
that's so cute.
The folklore said that the
Wolf spiders kind of remind me of jumping spiders. They got the big eyes and stuff. They just don't jump, but they run really fast, which is what causes a lot of people to not like them. If you suffer from mesothelioma, you may be in mesothelioma. It depends on how nicely you ask. Yeah, meso just means that the middle, the mesotheliae, middle spiders.
The area bitten would turn yellow, sometimes black, and appear swollen and inflamed. Then, anything from an hour to several days later, the person would feel excruciating pain and numbness in their extremities and develop a high fever, shortness of breath, and a weak pulse. They might be pale or
I'm dancing because the spider bit my junk. A spider bit my private parts. Yeah, that's how it works.
flushed, or go blue, or even turn black. Some passed out, others became stupefied and barely moved. Others were agitated and noisy. Many complained of headache or said that their bones ached as if they were broken. And some said they were seized with lethargy. Sometimes the onset was sudden, sometimes slow. The attacks varied, with some victims so morbidly excited that they would sing or laugh and dance continually and be unable to sleep. Others would leap into the air, uttering wild cries, or hurl themselves to the ground, arching their bodies in grotesque convulsions. Yet others would be dejected and weepy. Some would avoid people and seek seclusion. Others would seek out crowds. Many liked being tossed in the air, rocked in cradles, placed in swings, or being hit on the soles of their feet. While
I'm just going to fake it so that people throw a party for me and throw me in the air and dance with me and spank me. I've been a bad girl.
few would strike themselves over and over again. Some would dance in the heat and call for swords and mirrors to flash, while others would toll the funeral bell, gnash their teeth, howl, tear their hair, or roll in the dirt. Many writers alluded to the sexual character of the disease, with those affected throwing off their clothes, dancing, shouting out obscenities, or even having rampant sex in plain sight. Although the cause was originally thought to be the bite of a spider, people could also be affected by touching, or even just seeing others who have been bitten,
Yeah, it was
especially if they
contagious.
themselves have been bitten in the past. Part of the mythology was that the bite could never be fully cured while the spider that inflicted it, or its offspring, remained alive. Tarantism occurred sporadically in single cases, but also in
So
mass.
the spider bites you, you start dancing, and then everybody sees you dancing, they get infected by it too.
Outbreaks with most people in a village being affected. However,
Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are the other people who played Peter Parker's Spider-Man. I don't know who voiced Miles Morales in the Spider-Verse though.
only occurred in the hottest months of the year and was especially common around the feast day of Saints Peter and Paul on the 29th of June. Dancing was both a symptom of the condition and a cure, but everyone agreed that if you had been bitten, your only hope was to engage in frenzied dancing or face certain death.
Certain
Over
death.
time, dancing also became a way of protecting yourself against the condition, and particular churches developed a cult around this. One of these was in the small town of Galatina, where the Apostle St. Paul
Did
is
the
said-
wasp bite your ass, native atheist, or did it like sting you? Because biting and stinging would be different. I don't know which one would give you wasp powers, but if you get them, bring them to me. I want to be. I'm gonna become a super villainous called the Murder Hornet, and I'm gonna do Murder Hornet shit.
have stopped on his way to Rome. He was
Mostly to destroy capitalism. So
offered hospitality by a noble family, and in return he gave them a magic well to cure maladies inflicted by poisonous animals. The well is still there,
did you get horsefly powers, Helen?
and for centuries victims of Tarantism and those wishing to protect themselves would come to Galatina to drink from the miraculous well, visit the nearby chapel,
I hope I don't get the powers of everybody who's bit my ass, because most of the people who've bit my ass have been cis men.
and perform the spider dance. In the 1960s, the church condemned the rituals as the dancers could get uncomfortably raunchy, and the well into which the victims
Fuck.
had to spit back the water they drank contaminated at least as many people as it cured.
This is how
The
stripping
chapel and the
started.
palazzo in which it was located
The profession of being a stripper began in Tarantism. I have no idea. I just made that up.
fell into disrepair and was closed off to the public for many years. But the recent resurgence of interest in Tarantism led to a restoration and reopening.
I don't know if I'd want horsefly powers. Do you know what horseflies eat?
And once again, musicians and dancers flocked to Galatina on the 29th of June to play the traditional songs, wave the red scarves that ward off the spiders, and dance the tarantella. Even at the height of the dancing plague, however, not everyone was convinced the strange behaviour had anything to do with spiders. The poet Giovanni Pontano in 1491 thought the whole thing was no more than an excuse for the women of Puglia to engage in lustfulness and shameful acts at harvest time.
And I love them
Domenico
for it.
Cirillo, a professor
Slay
of medicine in
queens.
Naples, noted entomologist or insect expert, and Fellow of the Royal Society of London, wrote that the surprising cure of the bite of the tarantula by music has not the least truth in it. It is only an invention of the people who want to get a little money by dancing.
Hell yeah. Grifter got a grift. I mean,
Outbreaks of dancing mania unconnected to spider bites occurred in many European countries between the 13th and 17th
Talk
centuries,
about some more dancing plagues that happen.
as well as Persia, Ethiopia, and the Americas. These sometimes led to people dancing themselves to death, or to disasters such as the collapse of a bridge across the River Meuse in Maastricht in
It
1278.
does, oh my gosh, Aunt Jura, thank you for pointing that out. It does very much remind me of like a Pentecostal revival. When I was involved with the Pentecostal revival movement that came with glossolalia, which is speaking in tongues, slain in the spirit, shaking, laughing, etc. I did the shaking thing. My grandma told me it was known as St. Peter's dance. Okay.
which plunged over 200 dancers into the murky waters, many of whom drowned. In Germany in 1237, a large group of children danced 12 miles between two towns in a trance, twirling and leaping all the way. And it has been suggested that this may be
So
the
there's a show called Evil. I liked it. It takes place in like a universe where Catholicism is like real. But there's a section where some girls get plagued to keep singing this song over and over again. Like they can't stop themselves from singing it. It's like contagious to them.
for the Pied Piper of Hamelin legend. The music that evolved as a cure for the spider bite illness in Italy was called the Tarantula, and musicians composing and playing the tunes were regarded more as healers than entertainers. The music is a quick, lively tune with short, repetitive...
My music is also healing. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm here to heal you body, mind, and spirit. Yeah, yeah. Sounds like we're in tune. No, I'm not really gonna sit here and play music.
phrases
No,
played
sorry.
with increasing tempo. The accompanying lyrics were often suggestive or downright sexually explicit. In 1817, Francesco Cancellieri, in his exhaustive treatise on Tarantism, describes the restorative effects of music. We found the miserable peasant oppressed by difficult breathing, and also observed that his face and hands had begun to turn black. And because his evil was known to all, a guitar was brought, whose harmony immediately began to move first the feet, shortly afterwards the legs. He knelt up, then after a short interval he got up and walked. In the space of a quarter of an hour he would leap 3 palms off the ground. He sighed, but with such great emotion that it brought terror to those around him. And before an hour the black was gone from his hands and from his face. Other cures that were suggested
Magical dancing cures. I should just give up whatever I'm doing right now and become a healing musician.
included a brisk ride in the morning, presumably on a horse, alcohol, and love.
Presumably.
Spiritual or physical is not clear. It was also thought advisable to tie a ligature if a limb was bitten to contain the poison and ensure recovery. And many believed
Helen is the best cure for dancing sickness. Dead carpenter crackers.
that cloths warmed and moistened in wine and wrapped around the naked body were also beneficial. Many sufferers craved water, either to drink or to immerse themselves in. The gentle
Like the opposite of rabies.
murmur of falling water was considered an effective remedy. Some dipped boughs or vines in water
The sound of running water can be therapeutic. I got the pool right outside and got a little waterfall on it. And I'd go to sleep to the sound of that.
and moved them as they danced, while others
Wanna
would
miss
spend
it when we
hours
move.
watching the movement of the sea until they lost themselves in contemplation, became overwhelmed, and rushed headlong to the waves and drowned. Some physicians were of the opinion that it was beneficial to blister the feet and bathe them in warm water. Others thought the only remedy
Blistering your feet is never a cure, I don't think. I mean, is there a doctor in the house? I disagree.
was to scarify the area, cup it, and paint it with a mixture of treacle and bruised garlic. Italian
Treacle and
anthropologist
garlic. That'll keep vampires from biting your feet anyway.
Ernesto Di Martino led a multidisciplinary investigation into the phenomenon published in 1961 and concluded that Tarantism was a cultural construction of the rural society of Puglia. Many different theories have been proposed to explain the outbreaks over the years.
That explains the phenomena on its face, but like if people actually die doing this, of course they always make these claims, oh, this many people died, but you don't ever hear about who died. It's never like, oh, and one of those was the daughter of this person, so we have a record of it.
From demonic possession, sunstroke, rabies, ergot or contaminated rye poisoning, or just plain drunkenness. Most modern
They blame ergot for a lot of stuff. The werewolf phenomena, the witch phenomena, the Middle Ages, all that stuff, old werewolf lore, vampire lore, ghost sightings, and things like that. A lot of that's blamed on ergot poisoning. But the thing about ergot is, if it was that good, why isn't it a recreational drug at this point? I'm just saying, why are we not having ergot parties?
Consider it to be a form of mass hysteria, nowadays termed mass psychogenic disorder. There are lots of examples of mass psychogenic disorder, both contemporary and historical, from the demonic possession of nuns in Loudun in France in the 17th century, which forms the basis of Ken Russell's film The Devils, to the bizarre epidemic of laughing that broke out in East African schoolchildren in 1962. Most incidents of mass psychogenic illness occur within closed, cohesive social settings, schools, factories, convents and hospitals. Episodes typically begin with a single individual exhibiting a variety of ambiguous somatic complaints, which often appear dramatic, such as fainting or hyperventilation, which causes intense anxiety in other group members or observers. Incidents may last anything from a few hours to several years. However,
I wonder how many of these people had some version of Tourette's or epilepsy that got accused of this stuff. Yeah, ergot of the gaps, you're not wrong.
Sociologist Robert Bartholomew has questioned whether it is correct to talk of disorders and diagnoses, and suggests that episodes may involve normal, rational people who possess unfamiliar conduct codes, worldviews and political agendas that differ significantly.
Well, it's like a spiritual ailment too. Like demonic possession's a spiritual ailment. It's psychosomatic. So even though I don't believe in like supernatural things like demons and stuff like that, going through the rituals can be be psychologically beneficial. And I'm gonna call it the placebo effect. It's not exactly that. It'd be different, but I'm not saying that there's no truth to that people are dealing with maybe a psychological disorder that's being interpreted as an affliction of the spirit.
From those of Western medically trained investigators who judge these behaviours independent of their local context and meanings. Which I think means it's just people doing their own thing.
That is true too, Theo. Dancing and laughing is contagious. I can't tell you how many times I've been I hear a song and I'm like, ooh, I like that song. And then someone sees me and they start dancing too. That happened just the other day when we were at the halal place getting lunch. There was a song that came on the radio. I was standing at the register. Actually, it worked in reverse. The lady started dancing first. She started dancing. I'm like, yeah, that's a fucking good beat. And she was looking into it. And then the person that was with me, they started dancing a little bit. So dancing's contagious. Yawning's contagious. Laughing's contagious.
But why should this small area of Italy have been more affected than anywhere else? The spiders are widespread throughout southern Europe. One theory is that it is a throwback to the boozy and licentious cults of Bacchus and Cybele that had been followed for centuries in Puglia, as it had been colonised by the Bronze Age Mycenaeans.
Look at that. That's hot. Look at that hot orgy. Bro's got her up on his shoulders. And he's got this other guy helping him. Hoist her up.
Athenian Greeks. When the Bacchanalian rites were suppressed by the Roman Senate in 186 BC for being too scandalous, even by Roman standards, they went underground, reappearing under the guise of emergency therapy for bite victims. It seems to me that many factors were probably at play rather than there being a single cause, given that it affected people in such a wide variety of ways.
That is not the Therafosa blondie. That is Elasiodora parabana. I know Elasiodora parabana when I see one. I see your striped knees. I see your little pink hairs. You ain't fooling me, friend.
Some cases may have had a genuine organic cause, such as sunstroke or ergot poisoning, and some people may have had an allergic reaction to a tarantula or scorpion bite. But the response to music and dancing can really have no other explanation than hysteria. One historian summed it up by saying, "It is true to say that it affects the hysterical, the melancholic, the depressed, the frustrated, the neurotic, and the mentally deranged, as well as those leading solitary lives, while the bored, the beggars, the malingerers, the rogues, and the swindlers are also vulnerable." Whatever the cause, this condition and its cure, the tarantella, have certainly influenced our global imagination. Dozens of composers have turned their hand to writing music for the dance. It is a key theme in Henrik Ibsen's
It's a who's who of classical composers there.
proto-feminist play A Doll's House, and the Tarantalagra spell appears in the Harry Potter books, causing uncontrollable jerking and twitching in the legs of the person against whom it has been cast. There is a band called Tarantism, and it has even spread to K-pop. So that's the thing with mass hysteria, it's very infectious. But I'm pleased to say I've survived my encounter with this particular Goliath
There is the Therafosa strimi.
without having to roll around on the floor or start dancing. So thank you, Martin. Thank you, Therafosa sturmi, and thank you for watching at home. Please subscribe and click the notifications bell if you want to be kept up to date with all the latest videos. I'll see you next time.
I really liked this guy. I'm subscribing. Again, this was Professor Graham Yorston, Insane History. So that's who we visited. This video is from 2 years ago, but does he put out new stuff? Yeah. So we've got new stuff that's coming out all the time. 20 hours ago, talking about Charles Manson, which will be in our Charlatans Web episodes coming up in October. In October, we're doing all blood cults for Charlatans Web. My first guest will actually be my roommate, Bo, and we will be covering Narco Satanico, which was a cult in the late 80s at the Mexican-American border. Ouch, I just pulled my earring and it hurt. All right, so what else do we got here? Masters of the American Dream, American Drama, Tennessee Williams. Captain Ahab, Marlon Brando, Renfield Syndrome, Real Life Vampires. Ooh, Dracula's Harmless Slave. That's interesting. The Tormented Creator of Moby Dick. The First Vampire. Munch. I did a report on Munch in junior high. Castaway. Who was the real castaway? Now there were the castaways from the Bounty. The later years of Mark Twain. So that's giving you an idea what kind of stuff we're looking at. Helsinki Syndrome. Van Gogh. Oppenheimer. Ed Gein. Alien Limb Syndrome. Yeah, so there's some cool stuff here. We'll definitely revisit this channel at some point. There are things to be unpacked. But, yeah. As far as as far as tarantism, what do you guys think? Is it actually caused by anything real? Let me know in the comments down below. And as I always say at the end of these segments, please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, live from the Hive audience. First, let me get caught up on the chat. I still celebrate the Sabbath as the ritual connection, or ritual connects me to memories and connections to people, and have an appreciation for being alive, even though I don't believe anything supernatural anymore. Yeah, I mean, like, I love Halloween and Christmas and stuff like that, the ritual holidays, or Yule, if you will, and Samhain. But I don't believe in anything supernatural, but I think that those are more, for me at least, in modern times, are more reasonable to celebrate than the things that they tack onto it. Well, like they're seasonal markers, right? Like equinoxes and longest days of summer and stuff like that. But I get really annoyed when people who see Pentecostal stuff and say people are faking or stupid. Some people are faking, yes, but it's not all fake. As someone who experienced it, I can tell you, it's like being overwhelmed and losing control of your senses. It's facilitated by a priming of the scenario. Exactly. Yeah. That's like what I say when people what people have experience with ghosts and stuff too. It's like, are cryptids at all? People say they saw Bigfoot. I'm like, no, you did see a ghost. I just don't think it was that it was a ghost. I mean, I believe that you had that experience, but I think that there was some other cause to it than the actual spirit of a dead person. But I do believe you saw the ghost, right? I do believe that you saw Bigfoot in the woods and it was standing upright and everything. But do I believe there's actually a giant hominid out there? No, I think there's some other type of phenomena causing that experience. And I'm that way about most supernatural claims. I'm not going to shame somebody, especially someone who was primed from childhood to have these experiences in a church setting or in a religious setting, to be able to, when we hear this type of music and when everybody gets emotional like this, it causes this reaction, and your body is going to have that reaction because that's what you've been primed to believe is supposed to be happening. Sumami wants her ghost husband. I argue that all the time. Our brains evolved with a basis towards group cohesion. Religion is just another form of social conformity, and community bonding. It is. I just pulled that out of my shorts. It looks like a strap though. Anyway, it's community bonding and socialization and stuff. Rituals are what we do. Even animals have ritual behavior if you ingrain it into them. Brings to mind that panda who was raised by humans. So every time it snaps the bamboo, it grits its teeth like a person. It goes because it was raised by humans, and humans grit their teeth when they break it, which pandas don't do naturally, but the panda does it every time. There's even a video of one time where it snapped it and forgot to do the thing, so it did the thing after. It went and then did the grit. Because it was taught to break bamboo by people. So it developed this ritual. When you break the bamboo, this is what you do. It doesn't mean that the gritting your teeth causes the bamboo to break. But it doesn't not cause it to break either. So correlation and causation, but it's a ritual that the animal learned. Social conformity is the act of changing one's behavior, attitude, or belief to align with the norms and expectations of a group. This adjustment often stems from desire to be accepted, fit in, avoid conflict, or a belief that the group holds more accurate information. Child rearing fits the definition. Well, even among us, like when people talk about our woke mob, cancel culture, and all that, we are trying to influence people's behavior by saying, "Hey, when you do these things that are against the culture that we're trying to develop, you're not going to be allowed in our circles." And then they say we're canceling them, but that's not really the case. It's really just consequence culture. And we're trying to condition people to move away from those negative behaviors that they pick up on for conformity. Like racism is not natural. You aren't naturally going to be like, oh, this person has a darker skin tone than me, so obviously they're less human or something like that. You're not going to naturally have that. It has to be ingrained in you and then reinforced with the culture that surrounds you. So if we cut people off from having access to be able to do that, or call people out when we find them doing that, we are helping to develop a better culture for ourselves.